Greetings, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Um, yeah, I'm back. I don't know what else to say. Welcome back. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to start first with a prayer to help us receive the messages that we'll be receiving today, because it might be perceived by some as a little bit harsh, but it's not. It's all said in loving kindness. Please know that. So we're going to ground, we're going to center ourselves in order to receive these messages. These messages are pertaining what had been happening during the summer. Summer is almost over. Today is September 3rd. September 3rd. So yeah, let's start with that prayer. So I've chosen a prayer from the book Change Me Prayers by, what's her name? Tosha Silver. Tosha Silver? I hope I'm pronouncing this right. And it's the prayer called Releasing. It's for releasing. And that's exactly the theme of today's message. So I will ask you to take a deep breath in. Just allow the words to seep in. Let me release all that is outgrown and align with the divine for the highest unfolding. The perfect routes are already selected and will unfold naturally and easily. Let me know my true nature as love. Divine beloved, change me into one who easily releases all that wishes to go. Let me move with courage and ease. As I stand on the threshold of the new, let me trust that all that needs to happen will happen in the most uplifting and joyous ways. What is needed is already known. I will be guided, shown, and provided for in every way. All is well, and so it is. Okay, so now let's get into it. So to start off with, the reason why I'm approaching this theme of releasing of what has been happening, it's because I was just studying myself and everything that was being projected to me outwardly. So I thought to myself, since everything, and that's something that OneZion has been telling me, since everything inwardly is projecting outwardly, since everybody is you pushed out, your mirror, they're just reflect. I don't know why I'm doing this. Okay, I'm back. Back to the scheduled programming. So since everything was reflected back to me and is all the time, no exception, I told myself there is possibility, and it's actually what is happening, that Earth, everything that's happening on Earth is a projection of what's happening inwardly, collectively. So I was asking myself, because I was noticing the fires in BC, Kelowna, Maui, Europe. There was another one. I forgot where. Did I write it down here? No, I didn't write it down here. But it was all northern atmosphere. But I remember Kelowna, BC, Yellowknife, if I'm not mistaken. Yellowknife, Kelowna, BC, all in Canada. There's Europe. I believe there was Greece in the mix, Greece, and Maui. And added to that were the storms. Almost tornado-like in Quebec, Ontario, which is not the norm for us. So I asked myself, what is this projecting back to us? What is it reflecting? What is the inner turmoil? Because the first thing we think about, it's like fire, storm, chaos, turmoil. What's the inner turmoil that we have? What is it about? And why is it showing up as fire, raging fires, and storms? So this is it what we came up with? It's not what we came up with. This is what I channeled from OneZion. But before we get to this, let's talk about all the gods and goddesses, mythical beings and whatnot who have this fire aspect to them. So, see, I prepared everything, but look at me. Fire. God, I had found something about. Oh, yeah. Am I going to pronounce that name right? Hephaestus? He's a Greek god of artisans, blacksmith, carpenter, craftsman, fire, metalworking, sculpture, and volcanoes. And he was a Greek god. He has a Roman counterpart called Vulcan, which is funny because volcano, right? And I'm thinking Vulcan, Star Trek, because I'm a Trekkie. Apologies to all the people who don't know. And he is, what is he? Wait a minute. Okay, sorry about that. So this Greek god, as a child, was thrown from Olympus for being ugly. That was the term they used because he seemed to be disfigured somehow and not worthy of being part of the gods in Olympus. But he was called back to Olympus in exchange for his talents in creating all the weapons for all the gods and goddesses of Olympus. So he used fire and he was worshipped as a god of fire. The most popular one is Prometheus, which is a Titan god of fire. And he's the one who took the fire of knowledge from Olympus or another spot. It's not clear. There's two different stories. To bring to humanity so humanity could progress and advance. So now we have to look at the significance of fire. So fire is either wisdom or destruction. So in the sense of wisdom, for example, Prometheus taking the fire and bringing it to humans, that was acknowledgement that fire was a great gift of knowledge and wisdom to them in order to progress on planet Earth. There's also in the Bible the most popular biblical story of Moses speaking to the bush of fire which represents God, and God is knowledge and God is wisdom. So we can also look at the meaning of fire as being destructive. So we all know the story of burning in the eternal fire of hell, which we have been taught over and over and over again, or thinking of fire as cleansing, which is one of the elements of earth. So when you go to central earth, where there's the lava, it's considered to be a cleansing element when you look at it as one of the elements, one of the four elements. So here, I'm just going to read you something from University of Michigan, which speaks of fire. So fire consumes, warms, and illuminates, but can also bring pain and death. Thus, its symbolic meaning varies widely depending upon the context of its use. It is often the symbol of inspiration, and yet it is also the predominant symbol of hell. Fire is the only one of the 4 elements that humans can produce themselves, which is very interesting, actually. Keep that in mind. Rituals often involve an internal flame, and kindling a fire is equated with birth and resurrection. Keep that in mind. Fire can also be seen as a force of purification. In more modern contexts, forest fires, while looked upon as destructive and costly by modern society, are actually, from a scientific and ecological point of view, quite positive as a mode of purification. Again, keep that in mind. So, as mentioned previously, Christians, Chinese, and Hebrews see fire as a symbol of divinity. And yes, that's what it is. All right. Now, let's jump in to what information I received about Earth and this summer's fires, storms, whatnot. Okay, so I had to look at, I used the tools of archetypes in order to look at what are our patterns. What are the patterns that are reflecting back to us according to our inner workings? So I hope I make sense. I'm just going to jump right in. So the first archetypal pattern that I drew out of all the 72 archetypes I could find, which is based on Caroline's Mice archetypes book and deck of cards. So I used that, and the first one that came out was angel. So again, the questions are, what is it reflecting back to us? So this is what OneZion had to say. First of all, we're all divine beings. The angel is a messenger of God, often portrayed as such in literature and sacred text. So this is what they had to say. In this instance, the storms and fires are messengers. They are releasing codes and sacred texts to us as we are the seeds of their origins. Do you believe I would have left Earth without an angelic representative? Of course, she, Mother Earth, is I in form as well as you are. She is light as well as you are. She represents resourcefulness, renewal, life, and light all at once. She is the breath of you. I'm reading from my phone, by the way. So basically, Mother Gaia is a representative of the divine. She is divine, and she is divinely here to support us and guide us in all our inner workings, in all of our journeys and path, collectively, since she supports every single one of us here. Let's continue. What concerns you now is what she is telling you. She informs us all of the continual turmoil, friction, and separation between heaven and earth, between the conflicting ideas within man. She informs us of the battle between ego and the divine, the earthly and the heavenly, spirit and matter, the spiritual and intellectual. So what they're telling us, basically what we're telling you, is that currently where you are, there's still this idea of separation of spirit and matter. Please understand and know there is no such separation. You are spirit made in flesh. Spirit lives within you, lives in you, through you, breathes, speaks, and thinks. Now, currently, you have accepted the idea that again you are separate and only matter. But you are not. You are not simply matter. You are completely divine and whole. Which means now, what is being reflected back to you is this conflict of spirit and matter. And now, beings hearing the call, listening to the call, and noticing the changes and shift are wondering how they can reconcile the two. And this is our answers to you. It can only be reconciled when, for once, you realize, acknowledge, and affirm within you that you are one with spirit. Not only one with spirit, but you are spirit. Understand this. Know this. You are not simply your body. You have a body. And this body is a tool in your journey on your path to spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment being recognizing who you truly are, which is spirit. Remember who you truly are, which is energy, spirit. Okay. I'll continue. She is not concerned, instead reflecting back to you your concerns, everything, all your thoughts you entertain, all you dwell in. And now, being your mirror, she reflects the challenges of the world as a group, a collective as well as individual challenges. So the challenges again of you, of us as a whole, thinking that we are separate and that things are happening to us and not for us, and believing that we have no control over anything, all the while believing we are controlling the narrative, we're controlling everything. That's the conflict. That's kind of this dichotomy in a sense. Allow matter to be a tool. Matter is simply a tool. Matter becomes matter only because thoughts have been dwelling and thought about over and over and over again, simmering and melting and marinating within yourself. That is the fire. These are the storms. These ideas, these past ideas have been marinating over and over again. Let it go. It's just coming back to the surface in this form. They are symptoms of what is concerning you within, what you have been nurturing within. When they say nurturing within, what they're showing me are wounds, and like as if you're a wounded animal licking your wounds, but the wounds are internal. So that's what they mean about marinating and simmering in the wound. It's keeping the wound open and alive and not even cleaning it, taking care of it, and putting a band-aid and being patient for it to heal and doing what needs to be done in order for it to heal. Basically, what they're saying is that now is the time to come out of that phase. We're no longer in this phase. And you'll see why. I'll continue reading and you'll see why this is so. Let me know if this makes sense. And let me know also if this flows. Let me continue. The fires raging and subsiding are only one aspect of the story we tell ourselves. Let's explore these stories. We tell ourselves that we are not subservient to the laws of life, the laws of the divine realm. We believe that someone out there, outside of ourselves, will take care of the issue for us. Isn't it how most people on earth think? They hand over their power to someone they believe to be of authority, when in fact they have authority over themselves. You can rely on the divine and usurp control over your life by letting go and letting God. For most, this message seems repetitive and somewhat offensive. It is only so for you have not seen what can be done when you relax in the arms of the divine. Nothing compares to relinquishing control, which is a form of fear. Control is a form of fear. Which is a form of fear. It is in fact fear. Nothing compares to surrendering. Fear not, for you are covered and understand your power in this transaction. It is an arrangement you and I have to be in concert, involved in each other's life, as we are one in the same. I travel on this earth through all expected and unexpected souls and pour out myself into everything you lay eyes on. I am subservient to you as you. I am subservient to you and as. No, that's not it. I am subservient to you and you to I, for we are one. Pardon me for that. So then, speaking of surrender, I know every time I speak of surrender or I tell someone about letting go and letting God, they get somewhat upset or like almost like a teenager rolling back their eyes like, ugh, not again, this thing of surrendering. Listen, it is what it is. This is what helps us. This is what helps us. And I know I may not have the perfect words or analogy to explain what surrendering is, but it's truly just letting go. Drop it, drop it, drop it, just drop it, drop it. Drop the blaming, drop the guilt, drop the shame. Just drop it. Just drop it. And I know it is difficult for us to just drop things because we love. And I would even go as far to say that we are addicted to control. Control is our good friend. Control has us believe that we actually control every single thing in our life, which is not true. The only thing you can control is your reaction, your response to situations, to things, to thoughts. And the other thing you can control is your thought process. I'm not saying you can control every single thought. Not possible. There are way too many going on at once. But you can control most of them. And one way to do so is to, this popular word of reprogram your mind. You can do so by reprogramming your mind. You can do so by stating affirmations, writing them down over and over again, the ones that call to you, that speak to you. But in this instance, we're talking about letting go of the past, letting go of these feel like the last little things that we're holding on to that are blocking us from our divine path. This is what it feels like. It's like the last little stretch of road that we just need to clear ourselves of. This is what it is. And in order to do so, okay, so this is what I've been doing and it can work for you. And please don't tell me, oh, it's because you channel and you have access to everybody has access to the divine. Every single one of you. Every single one of you have intuition. Every single one of you can sit down in quietude, in prayer, and ask for divine guidance to show you where in your life you're holding on to past stuff, past stories, past hurts, wounds, situations, whatever it is. And you know what they are. Don't pretend you don't. You know what they are. And if you do not know, and you sincerely do not know, ask for it to be revealed to you. Because every time you ask, you receive. Ask and it is given. Like this. It is law. That's what they're talking about. The laws of the divine. It is law. We have turned into beings who believe that intellectual logic takes over and has precedence over everything, but it does not. And not in everything. I'm not saying to eliminate it altogether, but this is the era. This is the time where spirit takes over. And are you willing to let spirit take over? Because if you don't let spirit take over, spirit is going to find a way. It's going to find a way into your life, creep into your life to have you let it take over. Some way or another, where you fall down onto your knees and you're like, you know what? I don't know what to do. What am I to do? I don't understand what's going on. I give up. It's kind of a giving up, but you don't want to go to that point, right? Because it kind of sucks to get to this point. For some people, it's rock bottom. For others, it's like, I'm tired. And that's what it was for me. I was just tired. I was tired of living the same thing over and over again and not seeing anything moving. Why was nothing moving? Because I was holding on to the past for dear life, thinking that it was bringing and benefiting me in some way or shape. But you know who it was benefiting or what? It was benefiting ego. Ego is like having the time of its life. While having the time of its life, it was cursing me for like, how did you let that happen? What do you think you're doing? Blah, 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 blah. No more. Donezo. You see? That's where we're at right now. Right now, it's, are you done with it? Are you done thinking, believing that you have control over everything? We're not at that point where we truly believe and we know, and it's anchored in our body. It's in our DNA that we know we create our reality. We're not there yet. We hear it over and over again, but it is not yet etched in our every fiber of our beings. Not yet. When it will be, everything that's been happening, the fires, the storms, all of that, climate change, I have no more light. It turned off. Give me a minute. I'm back. Hey, apologies. I don't even remember where I was. I was just flowing with whatever spirit was telling me. Oh, yes. Until we realize that we are these powerful, magnificent beings who create truly everything around us, because I'm going to keep telling you, they're going to keep telling you. OneZion has been pounding this in my mind, and that's what I've been working with, that everything that's reflected back to me is what's happening inwardly, which means, yes, I create my reality and I'm sending myself messages through other people, circumstances, and situations. If I'm doing this, and we're all human, and everybody's doing the same. Every single one of us. That's the law of attraction. That's the true law of attraction. Is that as above, so below. That's the law. As above, so below. So within, so without. That's what it is. Until we truly believe this and like embody it, we won't be able to change the weather and change all those circumstances in climate change. We still have to act. We still have to do things about it. That's why we have activists out there. And I'm happy that they exist because I ain't one of them. I can just do my part by doing what I need to do to help Mother Earth. If I have to use less electricity, less water, recycling and whatnot, that's what I'll do. If I have to reduce my, what do you call it? Carbon footprint, that's what I'll do. This is what I can do. I won't go marching down the street in a, what do you call it? Manifestation? I don't know what the word is in English. Pardon me. So yeah, this is what it is. Okay, next. I have to explain this. The lack of accountability for the highest good of some is undeniable. We are each responsible for the consequences exhibited by climate change and storms. We are the storms. We are the storms because we are one with what we are creating. If there's inner turmoil and we see it manifested, portrayed outside of us in our external world, know that you made yourself one with the idea that there's turmoil inside. You made one with that past. You made one with the guilt and the shame. You make one every time you revisit that event in your life. You make one with it. And once you make one with it, and you have repeated it, whether in the words that were told to you or the interaction you had with the person or the event or the person, I'm repeating myself, I know, or you made one with the scene, repeating it over and over again. Notice that whenever you repeat a scene from the past where there was hurt, where there's anger, it's visualizing. That's visualization. What do you think happens? It comes out. It continues. It actually, it's revived every time. That's exactly what it is. Let it go. Be responsible for what you create. And it starts by being responsible with the thoughts you have, with the ideas you keep. What's the word? Nurturing. The false ideas, false identity, everything, all those past hurt. And I'm going to keep talking about past hurt because forgiveness is very important. It is time to let go. Because now we're entering in a new phase and it has already begun. All that shift talk, all the shift has happened, the split has happened. This is real. It's not just fiction now. It's actually real. It has begun. And this last stretch of 2023 is the time you have to let go of everything, to let go of it and enter this new phase. Because in this new phase, in this new level, you can no longer hold on to the past for dear life and thinking that it's going to bring you something, some revenge, justice, satisfaction. It won't. Has it given you satisfaction thus far? That is my question to you. Has it given you satisfaction to you thus far? Are you happy with the results of simmering in the past and licking your wounds and adding some salt to them? Are you satisfied with that? Are you happy with it? Is it bringing you joy? Is it bringing you happiness? Has it helped you move forward? Has it? You have to be honest with yourself. And listen, if I'm speaking in this way, it's because I'm going through it and I've done the work and I'm still doing it. Because finally I came to realize that I can no longer continue and move on and benefit if I keep thinking about all these things, all those past hurts, past circumstances. I have to let go. And some past circumstances are present. And know that the present circumstances are a reflection of the past circumstances. They're just showing up in another form, in another space. That's all it is. It's the same thing happening over and over again because you keep dwelling in it. Again, this is not about blame. This is about taking responsibility. It's about taking responsibility, not about blame. And don't you go out there be guilty. There's no guilt to be had. There's no shame to be had. You are where you are. You are understanding right now what you need to understand. Have compassion with yourself. Forgive yourself. It's okay. We don't all get it the first time. Most of us need multiple times to get it, to arrive in some sense. Oh, my battery's low. Okay, let me come back. Okay, pardon me for the short interruption. Where was I? Okay, I charged it enough so I can speak on this, and I'll just continue later on with the rest of the archetypes. So again, in the angel archetype, we were talking about the past. And this is what was happening while I was waiting for this to charge. Listen up. What they've told me and the imagery they've given to me, it's as if you're going, whenever you dwell on the past, I believe that's where we were at. Whenever you dwell on the past over and over again, it's as if you're taking a piece of paper or a little postcard, and you're writing note to self. And on that postcard, you're writing the same situation. Such and such hurt me. Therefore, men, you create a belief. Men, for example, hurt me. They don't take me seriously or whatnot, or I can never have a romantic relationship. I cannot trust men, women, adults, authority figures. And then you take that note, okay, and you're sending it to yourself in the future. That's what you're doing. Every time you dwell on the past, specifically past hurts, not like good memories and fun times, past hurt. Every time you do that, you're sending that note to yourself in the future to remind you of this perceived hurt every single time something good comes or something quote unquote bad comes around. That's what you're doing. And when they told me this, when I saw this and they were downloading this to me, they said, remember the movie with Denzel Washington? There's a movie called Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. And the premise of the movie, I believe it's law enforcement have access to a sort of time machine, and you could go 4 days back in order to prevent crimes or whatnot, or find something like that. Excuse me. And I remember a scene in the movie where Denzel Washington his character figured out that he can send a note to himself so he can be reminded or informed of something he would have not otherwise known. It's as if you're doing that. It's the same thing. You're sending yourself a note. You're bottling it up, sending it to yourself in the future every time you dwell on the past. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. And I know it sounds easier said than done. It kind of is easy to do and easy to say. I sit here because, I've done the thing that I was able to do to let go of past things because I've started to notice, and OneZion was turning my head to pay attention to these specific situations and telling me, hey, this is something that you've been still dwelling on. It's a reminder of those past situations. What's up? Now it's time to let them go. And I realized it by myself. I was like, it's time to let it go. It has gone for far too long. How long do you want to stand and sit in that? Ask yourself that question. Another 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Do we have all that time? Ask yourself that. So yeah. What else were they saying? Oh, they're just dropping gems while I was charging the camera. It was basically it. So let me read the last part of that specific archetype. And then I will come back once this is fully charged and continue with the rest of it. And I believe I might put it as parts, part 1, 2, 3, because I like to talk apparently. Okay, so where were we? We are the storms. Okay, you are also the fire raging within, for you have been denying your true self, your soul's call to being. It is now time to cleanse all of the garbage out. Remember the fire being purification, cleansing of your minds collectively. It starts with you individually. Renewal is at stake when you don't pay attention to this. Renewal is at stake. Renewal meaning new again, making new again. How can you make new again if you keep dwelling on the past? Not possible. It's not new. It's just the same thing but different, in a different form, in a different space, with different characters, but it's the same essentially within. So remember, you're the messenger, sending yourself the messages in the future through dwelling in the past. So imagine if, just bear with me, imagine if you chose to let go of these past situations, circumstances, hurts, whatnot, and you replace them with what you had wished it would have been, or with something different completely. Something you would like to see yourself in, a situation, or your new self. Imagine if you dwelled on that instead. What could you create? Who would you be in the future? Who would be standing beside you in the future? Where would you be standing or sitting or enjoying life? What would you be? How would you feel? Imagine that. Just imagine that. Just imagine it. Just for a minute. Imagine you replaced the note to self message with a different one. One that you would actually love to see happen. One you would actually feel good in. Imagine that for a moment. Okay, I'll leave you with that while I charge this. And I'll see you later.